the simple secret to remembering almost anything. Hello and welcome to MT. We all know that feeling. You walk into a room and completely forget why you're there. You meet someone new, and their name goes in one ear and out the other. You study for hours only to have your mind go blank during the test. It's frustrating, and it can make you feel like you just have a bad memory. Many people dream of having a photographic memory, the ability to see something once and remember it perfectly forever. They think it's a superpower that only a few lucky people are born with. But what if I told you that building a superpowered memory, one that feels almost photographic, is not about magic? What if it's a skill, something that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn and develop with the right tools and a little bit of practice? It's much, much easier than you think. Today, we are going to break down the simple, powerful secret to remembering almost anything. We're going to turn your brain into a memory machine. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of building your new brain, I have a simple question for you. What is one thing, just one small thing, you had to remember to do today? Maybe it was to take out the trash, or send an email, or call your mom. Just think of one simple thing. Let me know in the comments below what it was. I'm curious to see what's on everyone's mind. First, let's get one big thing out of the way. The idea of a true photographic memory, where you can look at a page in a book for a second and then recite it word for word, is mostly a myth. It's incredibly rare, so rare that most scientists aren't even sure it truly exists in adults. So, the goal today isn't to chase a fantasy. The goal is to do something much more real and much more useful. We're going to train your existing memory to become so strong, so reliable, and so effective that it will feel like a superpower. You won't just remember things better, you will understand them on a deeper level. You'll be able to learn faster, recall information with ease, and feel more confident in your own mind. We're not changing the hardware you were born with, we're just installing some seriously powerful new software. Think of your memory like a muscle. If you never go to the gym, your muscles will be weak. You can't just wake up one day and decide to lift a heavy weight. You'd fail, and you might even hurt yourself. But if you start training, lifting small weights first, and slowly getting stronger every day, you will eventually be able to lift things you never thought possible. Your memory works in the exact same way. Right now, your memory muscle might be a little out of shape. You haven't been training it properly. But that's about to change. The techniques we're going to cover are like exercises for your brain. The more you do them, the stronger your memory will become. Before we even get to the fancy techniques and memory tricks, we have to build a solid foundation. You can't build a strong house on a weak foundation. The foundation for a great memory is a healthy brain. If your brain isn't running properly, none of the tricks in the world will work for long. So let's talk about the 3 pillars of brain health: sleep, diet, and exercise. This might sound boring, but I promise you, this is the most important part. Ignoring this step is like trying to drive a car with no gas in the tank. Let's start with sleep. Sleep is not a luxury. It is not wasted time. For your memory, sleep is the most important thing you can do. All day long, your brain is taking in information. It's like you're writing down notes on thousands of little sticky notes. But these notes are a mess. They're all over your desk, unorganized. When you go to sleep, your brain gets to work. It goes through all those sticky notes. It throws away the ones that aren't important, like the color of the car that drove past you. And it takes the important notes, the things you learned or experienced, and files them away in the proper folders in your long-term memory. This process is called memory consolidation. Without enough good quality sleep, your brain never gets the chance to do this filing. It's like leaving all the messy sticky notes on your desk. The next day, you have no idea where anything is. That's why you can study all night for a test and still forget everything. You learned the information, but you never gave your brain the time to save the file properly. So make sleep a priority. Aim for 7 to 9 hours a night. Your memory will thank you for it. Next up is what you eat and drink. Your brain is an organ, just like your heart or your lungs, and it needs fuel to work. And not just any fuel, it needs high-quality fuel. You wouldn't put cheap, dirty gasoline in a sports car, so why would you feed your brain junk food? Certain foods are like super fuel for your brain cells. Foods with something called omega-3 fatty acids are fantastic. This sounds complicated, but it's simple. You find these in fish like salmon or in walnuts and flax seeds. Think of omega-3s as the oil that keeps the gears in your brain running smoothly. You also want foods with antioxidants. These are found in colorful fruits and vegetables, like blueberries, spinach, and broccoli. Antioxidants are like the brain's bodyguards. They protect it from damage and stress. And don't forget water. Your brain is mostly water. When you're dehydrated, your brain literally shrinks a little bit, and it can't work properly. Thinking becomes foggy, and remembering things becomes much harder. Keeping a bottle of water with you and sipping it throughout the day is one of the easiest things you can do to instantly boost your brain power. The third pillar of our foundation is exercise. Moving your body is one of the best things you can do for your mind. When you exercise, you pump more blood all around your body, and that includes to your brain. More blood means more oxygen and more nutrients. It's like giving your brain a fresh delivery of everything it needs to work at its best. Exercise also helps create new brain cells, especially in the part of the brain that is heavily involved in learning and memory. You don't have to become a marathon runner. Even a simple brisk walk for 30 minutes a day can have a massive impact. It helps clear your head, reduce stress, and get your brain ready to learn and remember. Stress is a memory killer. When you're stressed out, your body releases a chemical called cortisol. A little bit of it is fine, but when you're stressed all the time, that cortisol can damage your brain cells and make it very difficult to form new memories. Exercise is one of the best ways to fight stress. So, to recap the foundation, get good sleep, eat brain-healthy foods, and move your body. If you just do these 3 things, you will already see a huge improvement in your memory and your ability to focus. Now, with our solid foundation built, let's start building the house. Let's get into the powerful techniques that will take your memory from average to amazing. The first and most important technique we need to master is visualization. This is the big one. Our brains are not designed to remember boring, abstract information like words or numbers. Our brains are wired to remember images, especially images that are strange, funny, or exaggerated. For thousands of years, our ancestors needed to remember where the good fruit was, what the dangerous animal looked like, and the path back to the cave. This was all visual information. It was a matter of survival. Your brain today still has that same software. It loves pictures. So the secret is to turn any boring information you want to remember into a picture in your head. Let's try a simple example. Let's say you need to go to the store, and you need to remember to buy 3 things: milk, bread, and bananas. The normal way to do this is to repeat the words over and over in your head. Milk, bread, bananas. Milk, bread, bananas. This is weak. It relies on your short-term memory, which is very small and unreliable. It's like trying to carry water in your hands. It leaks out quickly. Instead, let's use visualization. We're going to create a crazy, unforgettable picture in our mind. Don't just picture a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, and a bunch of bananas sitting on a table. That's boring. Your brain will forget it. You need to make it weird. For example, picture a giant bottle of milk wearing a superhero cape, flying through your kitchen. It's not just a bottle of milk, it's super milk. Now, what's super milk doing? It's using a long loaf of bread, like a sword, to fight off a gang of evil, talking bananas who are slipping on their own peels. Close your eyes for a second and really see this in your mind. See the cape on the milk bottle? Hear the whoosh sound as it flies. See the crusty texture of the bread sword. Hear the silly, high-pitched voices of the evil bananas. The more senses you can involve, the better. What does it smell like? Maybe the bananas smell too ripe, and the bread smells freshly baked. The crazier and more ridiculous the image, the more it will stick in your brain. Now, when you're at the store and you ask yourself, "What did I need to buy?" you won't be searching for the boring words. You'll instantly see that crazy cartoon playing in your head. Oh, right. Super milk, the bread sword, and the evil bananas. It's almost impossible to forget. This works for anything. Let's say you meet someone new at a party and their name is David. A common name. Easy to forget. Instead of just hearing the name, create an image. Maybe you know the story of David and Goliath. So You could briefly imagine this new person, David, holding a tiny slingshot and standing next to a giant. It's a quick, silly 2-second mental picture. Now, the name David is linked to a strong image. The next time you see him, your brain won't just be searching for a name, it will see the image of the slingshot and you'll remember. What if their name is something less common, like Rose? That's an easy one. You can imagine a beautiful red rose growing out of her hair. The key is to make a connection between the boring information, the name, and a strong visual image. Practice this. The next time you have a shopping list, don't write it down. Turn it into a crazy story in your head. The next time you learn a new fact, turn it into a picture. This is the fundamental skill. Everything else we learn will build on top of this. Now that you're comfortable with turning things into pictures, we can learn one of the most powerful memory techniques ever created. It's been used for over 2,000 years by ancient Greek and Roman orators to remember speeches that were hours long. It's called the method of loci, but a much cooler and easier name for it is the memory palace. The idea is very simple. You use a place you know very well, like your own house or apartment, as a virtual filing cabinet for the things you want to remember. Your house is perfect because you know it inside and out. You can walk through it in your mind with your eyes closed. You know where the door is, where the sofa is, where the kitchen sink is. You don't have to memorize the layout, you already know it perfectly. Here's how it works, step by step. First, you need to choose your palace. Let's use your house. Second, you need to decide on a specific route through your house. For example, you always start at the front door, then you walk into the hallway, then you turn into the living room, then you go to the kitchen, and finally the bedroom. It's important to always follow the same route. This is your mental journey. Now, let's say you have a list of 5 things you need to remember for a history presentation. George Washington, the Declaration of Independence, the Liberty Bell, the year 1776, and the American flag. Trying to remember this list of facts is difficult, but not if we place them in our memory palace. We're going to take each item on the list and place it at a specific location, or locus, along our route. And we're going to use our visualization skill to make the images crazy and memorable. Let's start our journey. The first location is the front door. The first item on our list is George Washington. So we imagine George Washington in his full uniform with the white wig, standing at our front door, acting as a doorman. He's blocking the way, and you have to politely ask him to move. Really see it. Hear him say in a formal voice, "Welcome to the palace." Now we walk through the door and into our second location, the hallway. Our second item is the Declaration of Independence. We need to place it here. Let's imagine the Declaration is a giant scroll, so big that it's rolled out like a carpet down your entire hallway. You have to walk on it to get through, and you can feel the old, crinkly paper under your feet and see the fancy handwriting. We continue our journey into the third location, the living room. Our third item is the Liberty Bell. So we imagine the Liberty Bell is sitting right in the middle of your living room where your coffee table usually is. And it's not just sitting there, it's ringing loudly. Bong, bong, bong. So loud that the windows are shaking. You can even see the famous crack in its side. From the living room, we move to our fourth location, the kitchen. Our fourth item is the year 1776. Numbers can be tricky to visualize, so we need a system to turn numbers into pictures. A simple way is to use rhyming words. For example, 1 could be a sun, 7 could be heaven, 6 could be sticks. So for 1776, we could have a sun shining down from heaven onto a pile of sticks. Where is this happening? In your kitchen. Maybe the sun is shining through your kitchen window, a stairway to heaven is coming down to your kitchen counter, and on the counter is a big pile of sticks that you have to move to get to the sink. It's a weird image, but it will stick. Finally, we go to our last location, the bedroom. The last item is the American flag. We can imagine that your bedspread or your duvet has been replaced with a giant American flag. It's covering your entire bed. You have to lift the flag to get into bed. You can feel the fabric and see the bright red, white, and blue colors. Now, we've placed all our items. To recall the information, all you have to do is take a walk through your memory palace. You stand outside your front door in your mind. Who's there? George Washington? You walk into the hallway. What's on the floor? The giant Declaration of Independence scroll. You go into the living room. What do you hear and see? The huge, loud Liberty Bell. You walk into the kitchen. What's that weird scene on your counter? A sun from heaven on sticks. 17776. You go to your bedroom. What's on your bed? The American flag. You've just recalled the entire list in order without any effort. It's like watching a movie. This technique is incredibly powerful and versatile. You can have many different palaces. You could use your childhood home to store information for one subject and your office building for another. You can make your palaces as large as you want, with hundreds of locations. This is how memory champions memorize the order of multiple decks of cards. They aren't smarter than you. They've just trained this one specific skill. They have a pre-memorized journey with 52 locations, and they place a vivid image of a card at each stop. You can use this for anything. Remembering the key points of a speech, the steps in a recipe, a list of foreign vocabulary words, or the bones in the human body. It just takes a little imagination. Another powerful tool for your memory toolbox is using acronyms and acrostics. This is a way of organizing information into a more easily remembered format. You've probably used this before without even realizing it. An acronym is a word that is made up of the first letters of a list of other words. For example, to remember the Great Lakes of North America, you can just remember the word homes. H is for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, and S for Superior. Trying to remember the 5 separate names is hard. Remembering one simple word, homes, is incredibly easy. Your brain just has to store one piece of information instead of 5. This is a form of chunking, which is breaking down large pieces of information into smaller, more manageable chunks. An acrostic is similar, but instead of making a new word, you make a silly sentence where the first letter of each word is a cue for the thing you want to remember. A classic example is for the order of the planets. My very educated mother just served us noodles. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. The sentence is easy to remember because it makes a little bit of sense and it has a rhythm. You can make up your own for anything. Let's say you need to remember the order of operations in math. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. You could make up a silly sentence like, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." The sillier and more personal the sentence is to you, the better you will remember it. This technique is perfect for when you need to remember things in a specific order. It gives your brain a structure and a hook to hang the information on. Now, let's talk about how to make information stick for the long term. It's one thing to memorize a list for a test tomorrow, but what if you want to remember it for weeks, months, or even years? This is where a concept called spaced repetition comes in. This is probably the most effective way to learn something and never forget it. The idea is based on something called the forgetting curve. When you first learn something new, you forget it very quickly. You might forget 50% of it within an hour. But if you review that information just as you're about to forget it, the memory becomes much stronger. And each time you review it, you can wait longer and longer before you need to review it again. Imagine you're trying to keep a path in a grassy field clear. The first time you walk it, the grass is all standing up. If you don't walk that path again for a month, the grass will have grown back completely, and you'll have to find the path all over again. But if you walk the path again the next day, the grass is already a bit trampled. It's easier. If you then wait a few days and walk it again, it's even more defined. If you keep doing this, waiting a little longer each time, you'll eventually create a permanent dirt path that no longer needs constant attention. Spaced repetition works the same way for the connections in your brain. When you first learn something, you create a weak connection. By reviewing it at the right time, you strengthen that connection until it becomes permanent. So, how do you do this in practice? It's simple. Let's say you're learning new vocabulary words. You learn a word today, you should review it tomorrow. If you remember it tomorrow, you can then wait 3 or 4 days to review it again. If you still remember it, you can wait a week, then 2 weeks, then a month. You are reviewing the information at increasing intervals. You're interrupting the forgetting curve at the perfect moment each time. The stuff you find easy, you review less often. The stuff you find difficult, you review more often until it becomes easy. This is so much more efficient than cramming, which is like trying to trample the path 100 times in one day and then hoping it stays. It won't. Spaced repetition is the smart way to learn, not the hard way. You can do this with simple flashcards, or you can find apps and software designed specifically for this method. There's one more technique I want to share with you, and it's less about memorizing lists and more about truly understanding complex topics. It's called the Feynman technique, named after the famous physicist Richard Feynman, who was known for his ability to explain very complicated ideas in very simple terms. The technique itself is beautifully simple. It works in 4 steps. Step 1, choose a concept you want to learn. It could be anything. How a car engine works, a historical event, a scientific theory, anything. Get a blank piece of paper. Step 2, write down an explanation of that concept on the paper as if you were teaching it to someone else. And here's the crucial part. You have to pretend you're teaching it to a child. This forces you to use very simple language, simple analogies, and no jargon. You can't hide behind big, complicated words that you don't fully understand yourself. You have to break the idea down to its absolute core. Step 3. As you're writing this explanation, you will inevitably hit a wall. You'll realize there's a part of the concept you can't explain simply. You'll get stuck, or you'll find yourself using the complicated jargon you were trying to avoid. This is a magical moment. You have just identified the exact gaps in your own understanding. These are the things you thought you knew, but you actually don't. Step 4. Go back to your source material. Relearn the parts you got stuck on until you understand them so well that you can explain them in those simple terms. Then, go back to your piece of paper and refine your explanation. Repeat this process until you have a simple, clear, and concise explanation that a child could understand. When you can do that, you haven't just memorized the information, you have truly understood it on a deep level. This technique is the ultimate test of your knowledge. It shifts you from being a passive learner who just reads and highlights to an active teacher. And in the act of teaching, you learn more than you ever could from just reading. It's one of the most effective ways to build a rock-solid, long-term memory of a complex subject. So now you have a whole set of tools. You have the foundation of a healthy brain: sleep, diet, and exercise. You have the power of visualization to turn boring information into memorable pictures. You have the memory palace to store and recall huge amounts of information in order. You have acronyms and acrostics to chunk information into simple cues. You have spaced repetition to burn information into your long-term memory. And you have the Feynman technique to deeply understand complex topics. The final, and perhaps most important, piece of the puzzle is to understand that this is a skill. It's not magic. Like any skill, it requires practice. You can't just listen to this video and wake up tomorrow with a super memory. You have to actually use these techniques. But you can start small. You don't have to build a giant memory palace on your first day. Start by making it a game. The next time you go grocery shopping, don't write a list. Take 5 minutes before you leave and create a mini memory palace with just 5 or 6 locations in your living room. Place the items you need as crazy images in those locations. Then go to the store and see if you can retrieve them. You will be shocked at how well it works. When you meet someone new, take 2 seconds to create a visual link for their name. If you meet a Sarah, picture her with a giant S for Superman tattooed on her forehead. If you meet a Bill, picture him trying to pay for his drink with a giant $100 bill. It's a fun, creative exercise that happens entirely inside your own head. At the end of each day, take 2 minutes and try to recall the events of your day in as much detail as possible. This is a great exercise for your recall muscle. Try to remember what you ate for breakfast, who you talked to, what you wore. It trains your brain to pay more attention to the details of your life. The key is to be active, not passive, with your memory. A passive approach is hoping that things will just stick. An active approach is taking the information and doing something with it. You're twisting it, changing it, making it funny, connecting it to things you already know, and organizing it. When you engage with information in this way, you are telling your brain, hey, this is important. Pay attention and save this file properly. Your brain will listen. Building a great memory isn't about having a special brain. It's about using your brain in the way it was designed to be used. It's about working with your brain's natural strengths, like its love for images and stories, instead of fighting against them. By taking care of your brain's health and consistently practicing these simple but powerful techniques, you can unlock a level of mental performance you never thought you were capable of. You can learn faster, be more creative, and feel more confident and in control of your own mind. It really is easier than you think. You just have to start. Thank you for watching. I hope you found these tips useful and that you're excited to start training your own memory. The power to remember almost anything is not a gift you're born with. It's a skill you can build. If you enjoyed this video and want more simple guides to improving your mind and your life, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more content from MT.